Good morning, everybody. It is November. Yes, it's November 14th, 2023. It is a Tuesday, regular Tuesday video, and we'll go ahead and dive right in. So as when I schedule this one, the title says it all. I am going to be the proud recipient of a full and total hip replacement on my right hip. Yes. How amazing is that? Like I'm 75 years old. So today's the 14th. This is happening tomorrow. So tomorrow, I'm going to get up, get in a workout in the morning, and then I'll commute to the surgery facility, and they will go ahead and saw off the head of my femur, drill a hole in there, put a new metal, titanium, whatever the heck one it is, ball in there, screw around with the socket in the pelvis, stitch me back up, and then I'll be bionic. So this has been brewing for a very long time. So there's a couple things I want to get out of the way here. Number one, nothing about the fact of me needing a hip replacement has anything to do with working out, strength and conditioning, fitness, CrossFit, nothing about that at all. It was just, my hip was a time bomb, period, end of story. So I broke my pelvis all the way back in about the year 2000 during let's just call it a stupid training accident, some misfortune that occurred back when I was with the SEALs, and it is what it is. It's been my little buddy ever since then. I got 2 plates and 11 screws, and just due to the nature of that injury, I mean, over the course of the years, the cartilage in there has just been wearing away and wearing away and wearing away. It is what it is. And it finally got to the point where, because of that injury, daily chronic pain, it's just my friend. It is what it is. No reason to make a big deal out of it. I don't take anything for it because I don't want to live my life on meds, but I just have daily chronic pain because of that injury. It's obviously a very significant injury. And again, not going to get better with time, and eventually got to the point where I probably should have gone in several years ago. But it's at the point now where I can barely get my shoe on my right foot, and that's not an exaggeration. I mean barely, and it is horrifically painful. I have to it's rather comical actually. I have to grab my sock with the tips of my fingers and extend my arms as much as I can and almost barely get it around my toe, and then I'm sweating out of breath and rip it on, and hopefully that's and then the same thing happens for the shoe. It sucks. Now the funny thing is that I can squat. It takes me a very long time to warm up, don't get me wrong, but when I do finally take my time and warm up, I can squat. I mean, as a matter of fact, within the last 7 days we had a 7x3 front squat as part of Linchpin. I squatted 275 pounds for a triple on a arthritic hip with no cartilage and bone on bone and level 4 arthritis. Yeah, it didn't feel great, but it's just, it is what it is. That's my hip. And when I first had this injury, 23 years ago, the physician who took care of me said, look, due to the nature of this injury, chronic pain and arthritis, those are just going to be your lifelong companions. There's nothing you can do about it. So it is what it is. And when I received that information, even back then, in my mind, it made perfect sense. Okay, I'm going to have chronic pain, and I'm going to have arthritis that's going to continue to get worse, no matter what I do. Because, by the way, there is no cure for arthritis. Can't cure it. You can try to manage it, but you can't cure it. And so chronic pain and arthritis are going to be there no matter what. So if they're going to be there no matter what, well, then I can either continue to be active or I can be sedentary. And I will have those things no matter what. So I can be sedentary with chronic pain and arthritis, or strong and fit with chronic pain and arthritis. And that was the easiest choice in the whole world. I will pick strength and I'll pick fitness. And there we go. So when this finally got to the point that I just couldn't ignore it anymore, I went to my primary care physician, who's a good dude, and I told him, look, I think it's time. I need to see an orthopedic surgeon. I think we got to get, I can't avoid it anymore. It's literally I can't do some of life's daily tasks, like put on my sock. I said, but look, you got to do me a solid here. You can't send me to an orthopedic surgeon that thinks strength and conditioning is stupid, or that thinks squatting is bad for your knees, or some other nonsense like that. You have to send me to an ortho that understands athletics. And he's like, I got you covered. And God bless him, he sent me to a fantastic orthopedic surgeon. The guy walked in, he was fit, shocking as that is. We had a great conversation. He asked me what I've been doing. I told him all the stuff that I do: squat cleans, box jumps, I sprint, I deadlift, I back squat heavy, like you name it. And he was super cool. And he was like, you know what? He's like, all that stuff that you just told me, that's probably the reason you've been able to make it 23 years before you need a surgery. He's like, truth be told, if you weren't doing those things, you probably would have been in my office 10 years ago. But you've kept the joint moving. You've kept everything around the joint strong. You didn't give up on that stuff. And so that's actually why you lasted as long as you did. So that was really cool to hear, that he didn't, blame those movements, but actually saw those movements as beneficial, positive, restorative, and indicative of longevity. So that was that. And he's like, took x-rays, and he's like, and I hadn't seen x-rays forever, and that's when he's like, yep, you've got no cartilage at all, zilch, zero, 100% bone on bone, level 4 arthritis. And I was unfamiliar with that, so he said, you've got level 4 arthritis. And I said, well, how many levels are there? And he's like, there's only 4. You've got the top one. Level 4 means there's no cartilage left. I'm like, okay. And then he said there's also, just over the course of years, there's like a significant bone spur that has grown out from the is it the acetabulism? So anyway, it's grown out, and that's why on my right side, I thought I was just going crazy. As it turns out, I'm not going crazy. I'm like, my right leg, when I go to squat down, like it just stops at 90 degrees, period, end of story. Like no matter what I do, I can't get that side any lower. And he's like, well, that makes sense. Look at your x-ray. You literally have a bone spur. You're being mechanically stopped right there. And so I was like, man, well, when you go in there and slice me open, can you can we do something about that bone spur? And he was like, I'm going to put that on my list to get rid of that bone spur. That would be amazing. So if he can also get rid of that, Melanie, it's the acetabulum, yes. If he can get rid of that bone spur as well, wow, that will be incredible. And, I showed him that I have basically 0 internal and external rotation of my right side, which is, because if you picture so picture this. Even if I had internal, external rotation, with that bone spur, I'm mechanically stopped at 90 degrees. If you're stopped at 90 degrees, try to reach down and tie your shoe. Unless your arms are 7 feet long, if you're stopped at 90 degrees in your hip, you can't touch your foot. So your only other option would be to fold your foot over your other knee, right? How most people tie their shoe. Well, since I have no cartilage in there, and basically that means like I have no space in where the head of the femur is in the socket and the acetabulum, there's no space in there for it to move because all the cartilage is gone. So I have 0 internal and external rotation. I cannot get my foot over my knee. Period, end of story. And so that's why I can't even really touch my foot or get my sock on. So it was time to head in. So anyway, that's basically the lead up as to how that happened, what I've been doing. And I'm going to go in there tomorrow, and yep, they're going to cut me open, cut the head of my femur off, drill a hole through my femur bone, screw a new head of the femur into the bone, and then in the acetabulum, in the socket there, they kind of smooth that out a bit, and they put some sort of new cup in there. And I don't know what the material is of that cup, but I get a new cup in there. Then they stitch me back together, and as far as I can tell, no one has used this word, but I believe that I will be bionic. And so I think that's going to be what's in my future. So I'm actually not nervous at all. I am profoundly grateful and looking forward to this. Like, I really am. I wish the surgery was today. I can't wait, because the sooner I get it done, the sooner I start on the road to recovery. And so my road to recovery is also going to be interesting. I'm just going to I'm not going to be stupid. I've done enough stupid stuff in my life that I'm not going to rush back to 70%. I don't have any interest in that. I'm going to take my time and come back to as close to 100% as I possibly can. And any improvement in range of motion and any reduction in chronic pain will be amazing. I will be so grateful. And I've spoken to a couple good friends who are CrossFitters and orthopedic surgeons. They're outside my local state, up in the New England area. And they basically said, as you could imagine, most of the literature on recovery, rehabilitation, and all that is based on runners. Getting back to running, things of that nature. There's not a lot of people, they followed these long-term studies who were weightlifters. And how long will it come back to, I did that 275 for 3 front squat yesterday. Will it take me a year to get back to that? Will it take me 2 years to get back to that? Will I get back to 90% of that? 80% of that? I don't know. They don't know, because no one's really followed lifters. So I'm going to be the guinea pig on this. And I'm going to, come back slow and steady and make good decisions. And I'm just going to be basically doing the linchpin workout of the day. Now, I know that tomorrow I'm going to be sedated and totally loopy, and so I'll just be laying in my bed, watching cartoons or something like that. And probably the next day as well. But, once I come out of the anesthesia fog and I'm back to, starting to begin the rehab process and all that, and I can move my body a little bit, I will be doing, scaled linchpin workouts every single solitary day. And then it'll be interesting to see the progress of, how long do I have to scale, and what movements come back sooner than other movements, and all that kind of good stuff as well. Now, I have, as you could imagine, a couple of goals. I don't know where they fall on the range of intelligent to unintelligent, but we're all friends here, so I'm going to be honest with them. Linchpin test 5. Linchpin test 5 is 20 back squats at 225 pounds for the men, 155 for the women, then a 2-mile run, and then finally another 20 back squats at 225 pounds for the men and 155 for the women. In my head, again, I don't know how stupid it is, in my head, I want to do linchpin test number 5 as prescribed. I don't care if I'm slow. I don't care if I get through those sets of 20 back squats as 5 sets of 4 reps with some rest in between each, and it's a 2-mile jog, and then it's another 5 sets of 4 reps to get to the 20. But I want to get through linchpin test 5 as prescribed 2 years from now, 2 years from the surgery date. 1 year from the surgery date, I would love to do that workout at 185 pounds. So 1 year at 185, 2 years at 225. Now, that's what I'm saying as my conservative hope to beat it, my very conservative, very realistic timelines and goals. Here is what I know in my heart. Here's the actual timeline. If we're being truthful friends, I don't want 2 years for 2.25 and 1 year for 185. I would like to say that 6 months post-op, I do linchpin test 5 at 185 pounds, and 1 year post-op, I do it at 225 pounds. That's the real timeline that would make me super happy in my heart. But I want everyone to know, whatever is the intelligent and appropriate choice, that's the one that I'm going to make. So if it turns out that that's just a dumb, inappropriate, and negligent timeline, well, then I'm not going to pursue that timeline. But I think the 185 at 1 year, 2.25, 2 years, I think that's very conservative, 100% possible, and I expect to be better than that. But whatever it is, I'm going to be looking forward to it. And as far as I know, I don't know of another CrossFitter that's undergone what I'm about to go through. I'm sure that there have been, but has like been very open about documenting it. How long has it taken back to get to certain loadings and all that stuff. And so on a regular basis, I'm going to give, updates. I'll be updating the Linchpin community constantly, but updating as to how it goes, because functional movements, scaling is cool, understanding the stimulus, all the stuff that we talk about all the time is going to be good to go. So I see somebody saying, I bet you're squatting heavy in 6 months. You're going to feel amazing. They made huge progress with implants and surgical approach. I agree. I mean, from everything I've heard, if you had to have your hip done or if you had to have your knee done, you would want to have your hip done. And from what I understand, they have made some wonderful advancements with hip replacement surgery. And so it should be cool. But still getting the head of my femur sawed off tomorrow, so I'm probably going to need some Tylenol. So other than that, that's the update for what's going on. I'll keep everybody posted, and like I said, I wanted to be very clear, because again, super happy with my doctor, that this was an inevitable part of my life because of that injury that I sustained in the SEAL teams in the year 2000. A hip replacement surgery was coming in my future. And the reason that I've been able to make it 23 years without needing the surgery so far is because I have remained fit, active, because I have done functional movements like squats and deadlifts, because I have sprinted and box jumped and gone heavy and kept that joint moving and kept that joint strong. That has actually been what has saved me. And so, movement is medicine. That's it. I'll keep everybody updated. And, there's not going to be an Ask Me Anything on Thursday because I'll be, watching cartoons in my bed. But other than that, I'll be, updating stuff from my phone. And I think tomorrow I'm going to go into my garage and I'll set up the camera and I'll actually show what it's like when I try to get my sock or my shoe on my right foot and that kind of stuff, so that down the road, after I've recovered, I can compare the two. We can actually see the progress and the difference, because I hope to have this be some sort of a useful series for other people that find themselves in a similar situation. So that's it. Okay. Appreciate all the warm wishes I see and all the good lucks for rolling in there. So I appreciate it. And I'll keep you up to date. Have a good day, and we'll talk later.